Welcome to the History of eLearning. This presentation was developed by Lynn Carton for ADED 215 at the University of the Fraser Valley. Elliot Mazie said, "We need to bring learning to people instead of people to learning." This quote exemplifies what we want to achieve with eLearning. It speaks to the need to bring learning to people, not only from the perspectives of geography and accessibility, but also from the perspective of engagement. Rather than the older pedagogies which require students to interact with learning in a dry, predictable way, e-learning allows for excitement and engagement that encourages learners to step forward and participate and collaborate with each other. In this presentation, we'll look at the history of e-learning, and I'm going to look at select examples of e-learning from the 1980s to the present. In the 1980s, Apple II is often talked about in the history of e-learning as one of the first tools. However, I think that the Commodore 64, introduced in 1982, is a more significant contributor. Approximately 10 to 17 million units were sold during its lifetime, many more than the Apple due to its affordability and availability. How was the Commodore 64 an e-learning device? Several programming languages were available for the C64, including BASIC, Pascal, C, Fortran, and Logo. These provided a way to self-study and to experiment, allowing students to learn from these programming languages. Of particular note from an enduring educational perspective is Logo, which was known for turtle graphics, and allowed the user to explore programming via commands for movement and drawing. Commodore released Logo with the subtitle of A Language for Learning. When I went out to look up some information on Logo, I was surprised to find that it's still alive and well and being used as a way to teach programming principles to both adults and children. Sites like Turtle Academy provide online lessons in Logo and a sandbox to play in. E-learning from the 1980s has morphed and is still relevant today. Let's take a look at some basic Logo coding. On the screen, you will see the turtle, who is a representation of where your cursor is. And when you wanted to move, it was very easy. You could just type in something like forward 50, and you would see that the turtle moves. To turn him, you could do right 90 for right 90 degrees. And again, we could move him forward another 50. So as you can see, it's teaching students how to program, and it's very visual and it's easy to learn. Sites like this include tutorials that walk you step by step how to do these things. In addition, there's a playground which lets you work with Logo and lets you try a number of different things. And we'll take a quick look at something a little more advanced within the playground. This is the playground, which will let you put in a more complex piece of coding. So we're going to take a look at a little one that I've designed, and I'm just going to paste it in here. So you can see that here it's a little more advanced coding, but again, taking the lessons will walk you through this all. So when I put this in and then when I hit return to run it, you'll see it drew a number of figures and changed colors as it progresses. So this is the power of Logo and how early e-learning that was done independently on an individual computer has now changed through time and is being delivered seamlessly through a web-based interface. As the 1980s progressed, the advent of modems made it possible to connect two computers. One person could dial into the other computer. The host computer, known as a bulletin board system, or BBS, would then be used to share communications, upload and download of data, or programs, and play games. These were precursors to today's World Wide Web and social networks. If you were a computer user back then, you'd be very familiar with the sound of a modem connecting. This is an example of what a bulletin board system looked like, and this BBS, known as the Keep, is actually still up and running today. Compared to today's systems, they look very primitive, but at the time it felt like we had stepped into the future. As BBSs grew in popularity, they were adopted by some schools. I ran one of the better known bulletin board systems in the area, and at the time was contracted by Newmarket High School to set up a BBS for them. The implementation of the BBS was motivated by a senior who broke his back playing football and who was trying not to lose his school year. The BBS allowed the teachers to post messages about his assignments and homework, as well as share files. The student could dial into the BBS, pick up what he needed to do, and then later upload completed assignments for the teachers. This was successful enough that the school later opened access to other students and used it as an alternate way to communicate with information about school events. BBS use in education gave a glimpse of what would later become learning management systems. However, it was limited to one user logging in at a time and counted on them getting information and then taking it back offline to use. In 1994, four Ontario colleges joined together to share online courses. Initially, the intent was to deliver courses to those in rural or remote areas and to accommodate those with different learning styles or disabilities, and to provide schedule relief for those who worked full or part-time. In 1995, a similar group consisting of 12 colleges was formed under the name of Contact South. By 2000, these two groups had merged under the name of Ontario Learn and had increased to 22 partner colleges offering 285 shared online courses. Ontario Learn has continued to grow, and today all 24 publicly funded Ontario colleges are included, delivering 1,191 shared online courses to 73,059 registrations. Ontario Learn is significant for early adoption of shared courses delivered online and registrations shared between colleges. The online courses enabled students to learn from anywhere in the province, and services such as virtual tutoring and online libraries were used to support the students. I've made use of Ontario Learn in the past. When I knew I was going to have to do a preparatory biology course in a program I was taking, I was unsure of my skill level. I'd been out of school for many years at that point, and my biology was pretty rusty. I was able to sign up for an introductory bio course in the summer through Ontario Learn. The course made use of several e-learning approaches, including an online repository of course materials, a schedule, and teleconferencing, no video yet, just audio or typed chat, for reviews with the instructor. And on the screen, you'll see what is part of a capture from one of the chat sessions with my instructor. So this was actually accomplished by typing, and we would meet once a week, and the instructor would pose questions to help the students review. So this was a great technological use of chat at the time and allowed us to do more interactive review than we would have otherwise been able to. Webcams are a technical innovation of the 1990s. They changed the nature of the relationship between teachers and students, making education more personal and connecting those who were involved with distance education. In 1994, QuickCam was available for the Apple Macintosh. Its popularity ensured that a PC version for Microsoft Windows followed in 1995. Webcams allowed the capture of online sessions, and then those sessions could later be reviewed by the students or shared with other people. The spread of webcams was assisted by CU See Me, which was a software product used by Global SchoolNet's project that became the first multi-site, internet-based video conferencing solution. This solution allowed students from different schools to collaborate online and to see each other and interact both by video and by type chat. In the 2000s, LMSs, or learning management systems, were one of the new advances in e-learning. While the University of Zurich introduced the first LMS, OLAT, in 2000, the LMS truly came into the spotlight in 2001 with the introduction of Microsoft SharePoint. I'm going to take a look at SharePoint instead of some of the more commonly known LMSs because it was one of the first widely spread LMSs, and it was at a time of intersection between education and business, since SharePoint was adopted for use by both sectors. SharePoint allowed for shared document management via a web-based interface and document indexing, and it made collaboration much more straightforward than it had been in the past. While it did face some criticism and issues with performance, successive iterations through the 2000s made continual improvements in its usability. SharePoint was also the first system to use SCORM, which is a set of technical standards for e-learning products which govern how an LMS communicates with online learning content. And SCORM remains one of the main ways today that advanced technologies can be put in place into the LMS. I had the opportunity to use SharePoint in the business sector when working in project management. It was used as a central repository for all of the processes and templates associated with the project management methodology that we were using. All of the PMs could access this repository. Additionally, as part of the project management office, I provided training on the PM processes. SharePoint was used to make training pathways and materials available to people around the globe who worked for the company. And this is an example of what SharePoint looked like at the time. This would be the landing or welcome page. And as you could see, you can set up quick links that the users could get to various things very quickly. Categories could be set up. Generally, there was a news area so that people could have the latest announcements. And at the top, you'll see tabs such as categories, the document library, subscriptions, and management. The document library is where the main bulk of your documentation would go. And it also gave users the ability to subscribe to certain areas so that they would be notified if any changes or updates were made to it. Other learning management systems such as Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas Instructure, and D2L, or Desire to Learn, followed throughout the 2000s. Learning management systems continue to expand on offerings to students. These systems not only provide a central repository for course information, but may also include the ability for the instructor to do course administration, to track grades, and to develop online evaluations and give tests. In 2000, while LMSs were becoming common in the educational sector, generally the business sector had lagged in adopting widespread use of e-learning technologies. The 2000s finally saw computer-based training, or CBTs, and web-based training, or WBT, adoption. CBTs and WBTs were closely related, varying only in delivery method. CBTs are usually conducted by an individual user on a PC, which is standalone, and it gives flexibility to deliver training where network connectivity may not exist. WBTs provide the course material through a network. The network is most commonly the company's internal network due to privacy concerns. CBTs and WBTs had several benefits. They were convenient for the learner, allowing them to receive education in the workplace, and they were cost effective for the company as learners did not have to take time out of the office or to travel. Employees could take courses in their own time, pausing and restarting around the flow of their workday, or they could complete them all in one sitting. Once created, CBTs and WBTs can be delivered to a large number of employees, making them an attractive way to package learning. They allowed for learning materials to be customized for the company rather than relying on generic materials from outside organizations. And this is what it would generally look like when employees were taking CBTs. They could sit and work at their desk if they had a computer, or in some cases, an office may put together a shared computer area where employees could go to take the courses. This is an example of a CBT I had from 2005 when I worked at Electronic Data Systems, or EDS. This course was customized to the company's environment. It was developed for a specific group in the company, those of us who worked on the General Motors account. As you can see from the disclaimers at the bottom, it was developed and owned by EDS. This image is an example of the content within the CBT. As you can see, it does not have the same type of look and feel as electronic courses today. However, at the time, this was fairly standard for CBTs. It included a PowerPoint type slide deck with screenshots and markups such as the arrows. The CBT also had narration, which provided a student with audio as well as visual learning. MOOCs started about 2006, but really became popular in about 2012. And the New York Times designated 2012 as the year of the MOOC. MOOCs are massive open online courses. These courses are put on by some of the best universities and institutions in the world. They bring a wide range of course content to a diverse global audience, and they're free. It is possible to pay a small fee for the course and to get credits or certification, but it's not required, and this opens up a whole world of education. I find I attend a lot of classes for personal enrichment. While I may not have invested the money to take them at a traditional school, when they are available on a MOOC and they don't cost anything, I really do take a lot more and it extends learning. So MOOCs are significant for providing connectedness for a diverse range of students, for encouraging lifelong learning, and for acting as a source of education for those who aren't enrolled full-time in school. MOOCs provide analytic data, which assists instructors engaging the progress of students and the effectiveness of the course. And information on the courses is available for the universities who host them. The MOOC shown here is one I took through edX, one of the larger MOOC delivery organizations. This MOOC was a unique course called The Rise of Superheroes and Their Impact on Pop Culture. It was designed by the Smithsonian in collaboration with Stan Lee, the grandfather of comics, and with a host of other significant figures in the comic industry. The course looked at the origin of heroes from ancient gods and myths, powers and weaknesses, and how to design a superhero. As part of the course, you would apply these backgrounds, look at world events and your personal interests to build your own superhero. The course featured lots of video content shot by the Smithsonian specifically for this course, and was truly an example of MOOCs taking their content to the next level. It was such a success that it has been run again in subsequent years, and it still draws huge audiences every time they run it. One of the newer technologies finding its way into classrooms is smartboards. Much more than a blackboard of old, smartboards encourage collaboration between teacher and students, and between students themselves. Smartboards allow for markup on the screen, not just by the teacher, but simultaneously by the class from wherever they're located. Instructors can create rich visual lessons and then send them to the board for display. These are not static images, but allow for dynamic movement of objects and annotation during the lecture. The software that powers smartboards facilitates group-based interactions, making collaboration on group projects easy and saving the shared work in a digital notebook. Smartboards shine at game-based learning, driving student engagement, and making classes more fun. Instructors can jump into a web browser when needed to pull up additional information or share any screen to the board. These technology hubs are truly the evolution of a connected classroom. The newest wing of the college where I teach does have some of these smart boards installed, and I was able to make use of them when teaching a part-day dual credit session for high school students. We made a game out of the content, sending students out with their mobile devices on an ethical scavenger hunt through the school. Students could tweet using a hashtag that we'd given them, sending pictures to show what they'd found. Back in the classroom, these images were put up onto the smartboard, along with a running tally of the group's scores. Uh, these smart boards truly allow you to get creative and to think outside of the box to provide more engaging opportunities for your classes. You really need to see these to understand their possibilities, so I'm going to show you a short video that gives you an idea of what smart boards are capable of.
This is a magical story about a school, our school, and what happened when SmartCap IQ displays suddenly started showing up everywhere and everything began to change. All it takes is the wave of a hand and the learning begins. You see, it isn't just a smart display, it's also a digital whiteboard. And with multi-way inking, we all have a voice. Now, we teach each other. We share, explore, and connect at the touch of a finger. We're really working together. We can take our work with us and learn wherever we are. Life for teachers is better too. Everything is easier now. Bringing up a previous lesson, sharing notes, helping students stay on course. And because it's so easy to use SmartCap IQ, and it works so well with smart software, we spend more time learning. What does it all mean in the end? We're more engaged, and we're learning more than we ever did before. Is it magic? Not exactly. This is just what real learning looks like when it comes alive.
As you can see, smartboards truly make advanced collaboration possible and enhance the ability for students to engage and collaborate. That brings us to the end of our look at e-learning through the decades. As we've seen, e-learning provides new ways for learner-centered approaches to education. From the 1980s through to today, we've seen how advances in the services and technologies have helped bring teachers and learners together for enhanced collaboration, be that in a workplace, a classroom, or virtually across the globe. And this is only the beginning. New technologies and pedagogies continue to evolve and emerge. As Brad Gorski said, "The future's so bright, I gotta wear shades." Thank you.